If there is one thing that Donald Trump loves, it is a good deal. And after months of intense negotiations, he has finally hammered out one with Ukraine. Washington and Kyiv have signed the long-awaited minerals deal. Think of it as a business transaction, or in politically correct words, an economic partnership agreement. It gives the US access to Ukraine's rare earth minerals like graphite, titanium, and lithium. The US will get a share of profits from their future sale. In return, Washington will continue to invest in Ukraine's defense and economic recovery. After months of cozying up to the Kremlin, this is a major step towards bilateral relations between Kyiv and Washington. So what does it mean for the war in Ukraine? How will this deal work? Why do Trump and Zelensky want it? And what do they hope to get out of it? Our next report tells you.
After months of rising tensions and weeks of intense negotiations, the US and Ukraine have finally signed the minerals deal. It gives the US access to Ukraine's mineral wealth, and it gives Ukraine American protection in the war against Russia. Zelensky had proposed this idea to Donald Trump. It was part of what he called a victory plan, and Trump liked the idea, but maybe a bit too much. He demanded compensation for the US aid given to Ukraine since the war began in 2022. He sought $500 billion in compensation. This is around 4 times the amount Washington has paid, which stands at about $123 billion. So Zelensky rejected the idea, saying that 10 generations of Ukrainians would have to pay it off. But as Trump drastically scaled back US security commitments the world over, Zelensky became more accepting of the deal. The initial agreement was due to be signed in February this year, but it fell apart after a heated exchange in the White House, with Trump accusing Zelensky of gambling with World War III. Negotiations turned bitter. But a breakthrough was achieved at the Pope's funeral last week. Trump and Zelensky had a face-to-face meeting on the sidelines of it. Zelensky managed to eke out some concessions, and voila, the deal has come through. So, how will it work? The US and Ukraine will establish a joint reconstruction investment fund. Each side will have equal voting rights. It will allow Washington and Kyiv to share profits from the future sale of Ukraine's mineral and energy reserves. The deal will finance mineral, oil, and gas projects in Ukraine for the first 10 years. The resources will remain the property of Ukraine, but the profits will be distributed between the partners. What do the two sides get out of this? For Ukraine, this means not having to pay back any so-called debt to the United States. It will give Trump an economic incentive to continue to invest in Ukraine's defense, or in other words, security assistance. The fund will also spur Ukraine's economic recovery from the war. As for the United States, the benefit is rare earth mineral riches. Ukraine has vast reserves of critical minerals like graphite, titanium, and lithium. They are highly sought after because they are used in the production of electronics, renewable energy, military weapon systems, and so on. The global production of these rare minerals is strategically important, and it has long been dominated by China, where 90% of the world's current rare earth stocks are sourced. So, amid the ongoing trade war, the United States has been desperate for an alternative, and it has finally found one in Ukraine. Now, the deal may have been signed between the US and Ukraine, but let's not forget the third player, Russia.
Today's agreement signals clearly to Russian leadership that the Trump administration is committed to a peace process centered on a free, sovereign, and prosperous Ukraine over the long term. It's time for this cruel and senseless war to end.
The language used in the deal is a showcase of solidarity towards Ukraine, more than what's usual for the Trump administration. It comes amid Trump's growing frustration with Putin over ceasefire talks. The deal refers to the war as Russia's full-scale invasion and calls the Kremlin the Russian war machine. It's clear that with one signature, the deal has given Trump a personal stake in Ukraine's fate. It has given Ukraine a big guarantee to brave the war. But until Russia joins the US and Ukraine at the supposed peace talks table, the fate of this gruesome war continues to hang in the balance.